Service Nation, please welcome to the stage legendary recording artist and musical icon, a true force for good, founder of the Philadelphia Soul Charitable Foundation, the amazing Jon Bon Jovi.
Thank you. How in the world am I supposed to follow that? Senator Clinton, you continue to be an inspiration in so many people's lives. I'm proud to say that I've been a big supporter of the senators for a long time, and I've had the honor of knowing her and her husband since they were in office. And I'm really pleased that my daughter Stephanie here is in the auditorium with us today just to see the senators speak. And I hope that her generation continue to be inspired by great women, especially led by the senator. So thank you all very, very much for inviting me here to the ServiceNation Summit and for this opportunity to speak with you. Having heard last night's speech by the candidates as to their positions and proposals, I really am optimistic that they're going to meet the challenges, and I really do believe that thanks to AARP, EIF, Time Magazine, and all of your support, they can exceed those goals. If I may, I'd like to share a moment with you to tell you how I personally have become involved in community and why I believe that through the power of we working together, we can make things better for those in need. Like everyone else, I've grown into the person I am today. You may have known me as a 21-year-old kid with a guitar and a dream, but now I'm a 46-year-old married, father of 4. But I still travel the world with the same optimism and hope, not only for my generation, but for the next generation. There may be a few more lines on my face, but they're mostly from smiling. I was born a year to the day after President Kennedy inspired a generation by creating the Peace Corps. My eldest, as I mentioned, Stephanie, was born the year that President Clinton rekindled young people's passion for civic service through the advent of AmeriCorps. We're meeting here today to update that American idea and to give it a rebooting in the 21st century. I want to applaud those who serve their nation or serve their neighbor, because I do believe that if it benefits just one somebody, it benefits everybody. And I can tell you that life is in fact a team sport, whether it's a band, your family, school, work, or service to the nation. It's the team that works together that wins. That's how I define the power of we, whether it's corporate chiefs with government officials, community leaders, or the private sector. They all have to hold hands and say that the power of we is stronger than the power of me. But it also says that we all have our own power. Each of us, in fact, has that ability to make a difference in our community and in the lives of those who live in it. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to be rich. Because when you take the time to teach a child how to read, that's what I call the power of we. When you restore a public park that's been run down, that's the power. When you volunteer to help the homeless or care for an elderly person at an assisted living home, when you put on the uniform of your local police department or of this nation, that's the power. It's the power to make a change, real change, the power to make a difference. Now, I say to you, what is it that I do that gives me the opportunity to be up here? To tell you the truth, I hung my hat on something called an arena football team. And you may say, what in the world is an arena football team? Well, I'll tell you. I'm the co-owner of the Philadelphia Soul. And yeah, that's about the amount of people that know the arena football. We did win the championship this year, but you know. Anyhow, getting off target here. From our inception, the goal was to create a different kind of sports ownership, because I knew that I could utilize the team as a way of giving back to a community. Now, I had only one directive of our coaching staff, and that was to find me men of character, not characters. It wasn't easy to accomplish, and it took 5 years to get to this point today. But we created an environment that valued respect for the game and the city and the ownership and the fans in a way that would make players' mamas proud and would change the perception of a professional athlete who, in all honesty, lately have been less than stellar role models for a lot of our kids. We empowered our cheerleaders by giving them their own numbers and placing their names on their jerseys. And when I asked them to visit a hospital or go to a school, just as I asked the players to do, they answered that call. Before we played our first down or sold our first ticket, we took funding from our first corporate sponsor and we funneled it into 4 local charities. So whether it was beds for a Covenant House or a playground for the Northern Home for foster kids, the soul were always there. But one night, while looking out of a hotel window onto the streets of Philadelphia, I saw a homeless man sleeping on the steps of City Hall. And it was there in that moment that I found my focus. 3 years into the team's existence, the Philadelphia Soul Charitable Foundation was born, and its mission was simple. It was to combat homelessness and poverty. Homelessness, as you well know, hits more people than you can imagine. In fact, 3.5 million people will experience homelessness this year. Let me put that just a little closer to home for you. In New York City, or in New York State, tonight, 34,000 people, 14,000 which are kids, are going to sleep in a shelter. It affects young and old, black and white, Christian, Muslim, Jew alike. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. It doesn't care if you're from Philadelphia, New York, or the sunshine of California. Homelessness affects anybody, everybody, you and me. Because homelessness, in my opinion, is an issue that we can address without the help of science, and it doesn't in fact take a pill or a cure. Therefore, it's a crisis that we can tackle. But it's going to take money, it's going to take patience, it's going to take perseverance. It'll take all of that and something more too. The power of we. And it's in that spirit that I say we are all our brother's keeper. We're only as healthy as the families treated in the free clinics. We're only as wealthy as someone who tonight will sleep on a grate. Our work in Philadelphia may have started small, but I've always thought big. And to this date, the Soul Foundation is responsible for more than 140 units of affordable housing, including 15 row homes. Thank you. Thank you. Including one build in particular was 15 row homes in North Philadelphia's most rundown neighborhood. In fact, President Clinton came down and launched what was then the second phase of the Philadelphia Soul's build. During one of my visits to this construction site, I had a conversation with one of the neighbors, a lady by the name of Mrs. Brown, who I noticed was sweeping the sidewalk in front of her row home. I stopped and I asked Mrs. Brown, I said, Mrs. Brown, this block is awfully clean. Have you been sweeping it all by yourself? Well, she smiled and she says, no, John, I've had plenty of help pushing this end of the broom. It's pushed away more than dirt, though. It's pushed away the bad guys. And in this case, should they try to come back, I've always got the other end of the broom. True story. We reclaimed that block, one family, one home, one street at a time, which in turn leads to one neighborhood, one city, one soul at a time. So this is what I was inspired to do, and we're nowhere close to done. So now it's your turn. Find that challenge that speaks to you, the one that helps you make that real difference. I believe that we can make volunteerism hip. I'd like to make volunteerism the new black. I'm here to introduce to you right now some of the young leaders who will be signing their declaration of service today. So join me as we witness the evolution and begin a service revolution. Thank you all very, very much. Hello. Very nice to see you guys.